Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Michelle Barra. I've been a personal stylist for 25 years. I now help people like you build capsule wardrobes that mix and match easily. So today I'm wanting to talk to you about decluttering. I'm going to do it slightly in the Marie Kondo style, but also in my own with my own kind of take on it. So I've got some simple steps you can take to decide what to keep and what to lose. Because when you're building any wardrobe that works, if you've got a wardrobe full of clothes but nothing to wear, which I know a lot of you will recognize, then it is never going to work. So stay tuned to get those tips now. Now, before I go on, I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody who is liking, subscribing, commenting, sharing. All of that genuinely helps me build more content to come to you so that I can keep doing this and keep giving you bits and pieces. So absolutely, please keep that coming. In addition, I'd really appreciate your feedback in the community area. I've got a poll there over at the moment where I'm considering developing a private members area where I come on more regularly and answer your questions live. So you can actually ask me questions one-on-one. So if that's something you're interested in or you've got an opinion on that, please head over to the community area and let me know what you think, because I want to know whether it's something that you will want. Anyway, without further ado, let's get started. Now, why declutter? Well, the average woman now has between 103 and 148 items of clothes. Back in the 1930s, that was around 60 items. Now, I actually think they had something going there, and I actually think that it's kind of almost where we need to roll back to. Now, if you've watched me for a while, you'll know that I don't believe in certain numbers. I don't believe in having 33 items or 100 items of everything. I don't believe in putting a number on it, because there's so many different factors which go into making a wardrobe that works best for you. Things like the climate you live in, whether it's seasonal, things like what you do for a living, what you do on a daily basis. Lots of different aspects go into what you need, and that is the reason why your wardrobe will be different to mine and everybody else's who's watching, so it should be, right? So why does decluttering your wardrobe work? Well, for the first thing, it reduces decision fatigue in the morning. The less you have, the easier it is. I promise you this works. The less items you have and the way in which they blend together and the way in which they work together will make it so much easier for you to choose outfits in the morning. So if you are somebody, and I speak to an awful lot of you who tell me this, if you're somebody who just can't work out what to put together, so how to put an outfit together, the less you have, the less colours you have, the styles that work for you. So in other words, when you pick it up, you know it's a colour that works for you, you know it's a style that works for you, and you know that there's not anything else in that wardrobe that's distracting you, believe me, it works so much better. If you need help with the colour and the style, book in for a consultation with me and we can have a little chat about that. So today I'm going to take you through all my steps to help you declutter your wardrobe. So it reduces overwhelm. It means it's much better choosing outfits in the morning. It saves you money as well. Because the biggest thing that I'm going to talk to you about at the end of this is intentional shopping. So it's one thing to declutter your wardrobe and make sure that it works for you, but then what we don't want to do is then start building it up again. So it saves you time getting dressed in the morning. It saves you money because you're thinking much more intentionally about what you're going to put in that wardrobe once you've cluttered it, and it saves you space. And that's obvious, you know, if you declutter, it saves you space. And there really is something in the fact of actually feeling better about yourself and actually feeling calmer and more relaxed when things aren't cluttered. Because I genuinely think when things are much more in order and you can really quietly just go to your wardrobe and choose something out, then it works so much better. Now, there's two kind of main areas that people struggle with when decluttering their wardrobes, and one is if they've got literally overwhelming amount of clothes. In other words, they're spilling into other rooms. That's one aspect. And then also the other aspect is deciding what to keep, what to discard, and what to donate or sell. Okay, so I'm going to take you through my steps of what to think about and how to look at every single item in your wardrobe and make those decisions. So first thing I want to address, if you have an overwhelming amount of clothes, so let's say I worked with a client who had literally bedrooms full of clothes. Her children couldn't come stay anymore because she had so many clothes. In that instance, what I want you to do is concentrate on one item, one type of item. So let's say it's skirts. And it doesn't matter if, you know, you start with skirts and you root through and you pull out all of your skirts, let's say, and you put them all in one place so you can actually see what you've got, that you find another couple of skirts at a later date. Don't worry about that too much, but just try and gather as much as you can into one place. So that means from the loft, it means from the basement, it means from the car, it means from the shed, wherever you have clothes, I want you to gather them all into one place. So if it is overwhelming, and you do have too many, you can't gather all your clothes into one place in one go, then like I say, do it in little bite-sized chunks. Maybe you start with accessories, or you start with bags, or you start with belts, or you start with something that feels manageable. And then, believe me, gradually as you chip away with it, you will feel much more accomplished by it. Now, if you have clothes and you have enough that you can put it all into one place and do it all in one go, then that is the way I suggest it. But I still suggest that you break it down into items. So even the point is, you need to see everything you have in one place. There is no point in going to the wardrobe in your bedroom and starting there, then going to the wardrobe in your other bedroom and going there. You need to see how many pieces of one item you have. So let's say skirts, like I mentioned, you need to see how many you have to be able to make proper decisions. So whatever the size of your wardrobe is, whether you break it down into bite-sized chunks and you do like just skirts today, or you do the whole lot in one go, you do need to break it down into what the item is to be able to see how many of that item you have. That will help you make much better decisions. So if you've followed me for a while, you'll know that I actually talk quite a lot about breaking your lifestyle up into 100%. So over a month, what do you do within that month? By the way, if you can hear lots of traffic and you can hear seagulls and all that, I've got the windows open because it's really quite hot and clammy here today, just so you know, in case you can hear that. So if over a month, break your month up by 100%. So let's say you spend 40% of your time at work, you spend 20% of your time with the children, 10% of your time at the gym. That is pretty much how your wardrobe should look. So that is kind of a breakdown that you can use to work out in a very practical way what you need from your wardrobe and what you need in your wardrobe as well. In addition to that, think about how many times you do a wash cycle or you visit the dry cleaners, you know, if you've got things that need to be regularly dry cleaned. So if you do a wash cycle, say twice a week, then you can work out how many shirts, for example, you might need for work. You know, can you have 3? You know, and then even if you work full time, maybe the one you wore on the Monday you can wear again on the Thursday or the Friday. So break your lifestyle down like that, because it's a very, very practical sense to it. And next I'm going to talk about each of the steps that you should consider and all of the things that you should consider with every item in your wardrobe to decide what you do with it. So first up, is it damaged? Now, this has lots of different aspects to it. So let's say it's a zip that's broken, it's a button that's fallen off, maybe you tipped bleach on it at some point. Now, my question to you would be, is it something you can fix yourself? If it's something you can fix yourself, then put it in a pile somewhere very visible so that you do it very soon after you've decluttered your wardrobe. So it is there in your face, not stuffed in a drawer where you go, oh, I can't put that on because I haven't fixed that button, and you shove it back in. Put it somewhere where it's really obvious to you so it makes you do it and reminds you to do it. Okay, so that's the first thing. If you can fix it yourself, fix it yourself. Now, if it's something that's got bleach on it, maybe you can maybe you can dye the whole garment. Just as a little tip with that, generally, if it's man-made fibres, it doesn't dye quite as well as if it's natural fibres. So if you've got, say, a pair of jeans, 100% cotton jeans, they will probably dye up okay if you've tipped bleach down the front of them. So consider that as well. Can you fix it? Do you want to fix it? You know, does that garment mean enough to you that you do want to fix it? So that is the decision you make. Are you going to fix it now? Are you going to look at fixing it, i.e. dyeing it, or what you can do with it? Or are you going to take it somewhere else to someone else who can fix it for you? Now, whichever option it is, make sure it is somewhere visible that you see it and you make that decision very soon after you do this decluttering, so that it's not getting shoved back in your drawer and bulking out your wardrobe again, or getting hung back up and just taking up space that's unnecessary. Now, if it's something that you think, actually, I've bought something really similar again, I'm probably not going to wear that one again, although I loved it, you know, it was great, I've actually got this one now, so I probably don't need it. In that instance, excuse me, in that instance, then maybe you get rid of it. You literally throw it out, or you take it to a fabric bank. Maybe you do something like that. Always try and do the most economical and also environmentally friendly thing with it. So if you can get it, take it somewhere where it's going to be recycled, the fabric is going to be used, absolutely do that. Now, so that is basically it. If it is damaged, either you fix it now, you look to get it fixed now, or you remove it. So next up, what do you do with duplicates? Now, what I mean by duplicates, for some reason, lots of people have, they tend to have a lot of jeans, and women tend to have a lot of black leggings. I don't know why that is, but unless you are a yoga teacher that gets very sweaty and you do 3 yoga classes a day, I don't really see why you need 10 pairs of black yoga leggings. So, the way in which you work out how many you need, so whatever duplicate it is, whether it's, you know, just generally t-shirts, maybe you've just got too many t-shirts. So consider what is the best quality, what feels best on you, how many times do you need it during your month, so inclusive of the wash cycle, which I mentioned earlier. So in other words, how many times do you actually wear it? How many times can you re-wear it once it's gone through the wash cycle? Then consider, so the best quality, the newest, how many times you actually need it. So that will give you a number. So let's say you've decided you actually need 4 pairs of black leggings, right? So, and you've got 10. So you work that out by, like I say, how many you actually need over the month, and then with the wash cycle. So then to eliminate the rest, you choose the most comfortable, you choose the best quality, you choose the one that functioned the best as well, and the newest. Because that way, then you're looking at the best options out of the ones that you have. The rest you sell, donate, or whatever you decide to do. It's entirely up to you. Look at Vinted for that. Look at eBay. eBay now have free listings. I think they're competing with Vinted. So eBay, you can now put items on there for free. So take a look at Vinted. Take a look at some of the other apps. There's a few other apps, and also eBay for selling, or donate it. You know, donate it to your local Goodwill or charity shop. Next is items that no longer fit. Now, this is probably the most controversial and difficult one to make decisions on, but I have a plan for you, so don't fret. So if I had £1 for every time someone said to me, oh, you know, but I've got these clothes and I really like them, but you know, I don't fit them in them at the moment, and I'm working towards it. That's all brilliant. I am not knocking that at all, and it's fantastic if you are working towards it. But I do have a very practical plan that you can think about if that is you and that is the case. So anything that does not fit you right now, put aside. Don't have it in your immediate wardrobe. Have it maybe sort of stored under the bed, wherever it needs to go. If it's past all the other aspects of this, what I'm going to go through, i.e. it's not damaged, you haven't worn it for X amount of time, etc., etc. But basically, if it's an item that you absolutely love and you do want to keep, but you don't quite fit in it at the moment, put it somewhere where it's not in your immediate wardrobe, because all it does is remind you of what you're not. Carry on working towards that weight, whether it's putting weight on or whether it's losing it. It's entirely, you know, that's obviously your business. So whichever way it is, if you're trying to get back to that target weight, then work towards it. Put put it aside for that season. Now, if by the end of that season, or if you don't live in a seasonal climate, if by the end of that year you've not pulled it out and worn it because you've reached that target weight, then consider donating it, selling it, or getting rid of it at that point. So in other words, what you're doing is you're giving yourself at least a whole 6 months, if you live in a seasonal climate, to actually decide whether you're going to keep that garment or not. So, and if you get very, very close, so for example, you know, if you're very close to that target weight at the end of that season, then obviously make practical decisions for yourself. But essentially, if you've not made it in a year, you're probably unlikely to be back there. So maybe what you do is you sell it and you use the proceeds from that garment to actually buy something that you like that's very, very similar with the money. So in other words, it's almost, then it feels like it's swapping it. So it's something that you love but you don't quite fit it anymore, so you sell it on and you buy, you know, you never know, with places like Vinted and stuff like that, you can often find things in different sizes. So if you look and it's like some, I don't know, for example, an All Saints beaded skirt or something that you bought 15 years ago, the chances are, if you're patient with it, you'll probably be able to find the same thing in a bigger size anyway. So consider that. And just be very, very practical about it. I'm not going to say to you to get rid of them straight away, but think really practically. Maybe in a year's time you then look at those items, and if you've not pulled them out, then you consider getting rid of them. Now, next up is clothes that are uncomfortable. Now, this could be for either mentally they feel uncomfortable or physically they feel uncomfortable. So I'll explain that a little bit now. But obviously physically, it could be they dig in, the material itches you, maybe the material irritates you. Maybe you're constantly having to pull it down if it's a skirt because it rides up, or a top that rides down, you know, that type of thing. That is physically feels uncomfortable, but mentally feels uncomfortable. It could be that it just doesn't feel quite appropriate where you are. Now, that is very much a personal thing. You know, one person might feel that they can wear something anywhere and the next person might be feeling like they can't. But if something feels uncomfortable for whatever reason and it ends up staying in your wardrobe or in your drawers and you don't pick it out, then I would consider getting rid of it again around after a year. If you've not worn it for a while, then there's probably a reason for that. Now, if, you know, I know some of you, it might be that, you know, you bought something in Benidorm and it reminded you of an amazing holiday, you had a wonderful time, and it's got that kind of emotional attached to it. And just to say, actually, with emotional attachment things, so maybe someone's giving you a garment or something like that, that's also a very important area. If that's the case, then what I would consider doing, maybe putting it in a display box, or you donate it. If it's something really precious and amazing, maybe you donate it to a local museum. Or if it's not so precious like that and it is just something that you really like that you picked up somewhere, then maybe, like I said earlier, maybe you sell it and you find something similar in a material or in a fabric or a cut that's slightly different that does make you feel good. So yeah, if there's anything that doesn't feel comfortable, and that's including shoes as well. Shoes is a really big area. So I am somebody who's got wide feet. I always walk everywhere. My feet are quite wide, and I just basically cannot wear heels. And so I just don't do it to myself anymore. I just don't do it. I'm only 5'3", and I just don't do it because I'm quite happy with that decision. Other people wouldn't be, but I am quite happy with that. So it's a very personal thing, but listen to it and just eliminate anything that doesn't feel comfortable for whatever reason. And last but not least, and this is one that kind of threads right the way through everything really, if you've not worn it in over a year, the chances are you're not going to start wearing it now. Now, there are a few exceptions to that rule. So let's say, for example, recently you were pregnant, or, you know, so in other words, you had clothes for your pregnancy, or maybe you had surgery that made you lose or put on weight, or maybe there's like an annual event which you do for whatever reason you didn't do this year. So it could be skiing, maybe you've got a skiing suit, you know, things like that. Then absolutely keep, because obviously it's not something you're going to be wearing all the time, but it's something that you will wear like frequently over the years. In that instance, keep it. But if it's something that's just sitting there, you know, it's just a stripy t-shirt that for whatever reason you've not picked out, then the chances are I've probably mentioned that reason already, during this video. So if you haven't got rid of it yet, answering all those other questions, then I would consider getting rid of it now. And like I said, use the funds, anything that you can sell, use the funds for that to actually then buy pieces that complete your capsule wardrobe. Because what I always suggest people do is definitely learn what colours work for you, definitely learn what styles work for your body type, because I feel like that really helps you make better decisions. Book in with a consultation with me if you need help for that, and I can definitely help you with that. Then choose around 8 colours to start from. So if you're decluttering your wardrobe down and you really just want a wardrobe that's going to work easy, where you just go in and you pick out an outfit and it all works, because you're not the sort of person that's very used to or very good at putting items together, then this, I promise you, is the best way of doing it. Because the less colours you have, and you know they work together, particularly if you've gone through that with me, you've gone through colour analysis and we've chosen your colour palette. If you've done that and you're watching this, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It just helps you become so much more focused. Now, last but not least, and this is the most important part of decluttering your wardrobe, believe it or not. So now we've got it down, we've worked out what colours work for us, we've worked out what styles work for us, we've looked at the climate we live in, we've looked at how often we've worn something, we've looked at whether it's comfortable, whether it's uncomfortable, whether it's practical for us, whether we actually wear it during the month, and we've looked at whether it's damaged. We've looked at so many different aspects, and now what you've got left should be items to donate, items to get rid of, items to sell. There should be a few that are maybe put aside because maybe they're not quite the right size, or it could also be, and this is equally important, that the items you put aside aren't quite the right colour for you, or aren't quite the right cut, but you want to replace them eventually with something that is, and you know exactly what you're going to replace them with. So let's say, for example, you have found out that you're an apple shape and that skinny white trousers aren't going to be your best option, or black trousers are not going to be your best option. You found out the flat fronted navy blue side fastening with a wide leg is your best option. So you're keeping those at the moment because you don't want literally a wardrobe where you have nothing to wear. You know, it's one thing to have a wardrobe full of clothes and nothing to wear, but it's another thing entirely to not have anything to wear because you've got rid of it all. So please don't do that. So you may well have a pile there, which is kind of the work in progress pile. So in other words, either you're assessing whether you're actually going to need those pieces, or you're looking to replace some of them with something that's going to work for you best. So that is where you should be at once you've gone through this process. The most important aspect on top of this is that then you don't start replacing it with items that you're going to end up then removing it again at a later date because they don't work. So I want you to shop really carefully from now on. So shop with intention. So think about where you're going to wear it, what you're going to wear it with, whether you like the material, whether the cut is right for your body type, whether the colour is right for the palette that you've chosen, whether it fits with your lifestyle, does it serve the purpose, is it the right length, you know, does it go with your shoes and your tops and everything else. So don't buy anything unless you're making those decisions, because then that way you are still making sure that that wardrobe you have spent time trying to build isn't going to get ruined by adding items that don't work. So think really, really carefully about every item that you then put into your wardrobe. In addition, always consider the best quality. So whatever budget you are on, if you are on a lower budget, then consider the best quality. And if you are on a low budget, consider getting pre-loved, because you can buy some amazing pieces that are just sometimes haven't even been worn. I've bought plenty of pieces that haven't even been worn that are like a quarter or an eighth of the original price. Last but not least, I wanted to talk to you about storage options. So there are some fantastic storage options available for either drawers or hangers, where you can hang multiple garments from one hook, actually one hanger at the top. So I am going to, in the links in the notes, I'm going to put down some of my favourite storage options there so that you can even maximise that space even better. So I hope you found this video helpful. Please like, subscribe, tell your friends, let me know in the comments what your favourite storage options are, what you do about decluttering your wardrobe. Let me know if you've started it. Let me know if you've got any comments or questions. I reply to every single comment. And have a wonderful day wherever you are, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye.